Hello everybody and welcome to this patch 1.21 overview. In this video I'll be going over some of the major changes and new features that were introduced to the game. For the full list of changes, please check the official patch notes in the description below. Now the main thing here is jobs, but we're gonna save that for last. Anyways, here we go. A new type of supply and provisioning mission known as expeditionary missions have been made available to Grand Company members. These tasks have you trade in gear obtained from instances and NMs for company seals. Personally, I think this is a great addition since it gives rare X gear that you would otherwise throw away some added value. As you can see here, I'm going to trade in one of my gears for some CP and use it to rank up. I also think this is going to give Totorak some much needed company. Theoretically speaking, you could probably farm like 1k CP per run, and those runs aren't any longer than 30 minutes each. Also, these seals can be used to purchase chocobo barding gear. As you can see here, they're mainly only for cosmetic purposes at the moment, but in the future they will have stats since you will be able to have them in combat, be it mounted or as a pet. Inns, which are private areas for player use, have been added. These small rooms currently serve two purposes. One, they allow for players to rewatch cutscenes from quest or storyline missions that they've already completed. And two, they reward the character with rested XP bonus depending on how long they've been in the room. Now it doesn't matter if you were offline or online when this happens, you just get rested XP. This bonus is 50% and it stacks with any bonus that you may get, be it from change or links or food, which I will go into later. Your current rested XP is displayed by that green highlight on my XP bar. If this bar is red, it just means that the rested XP that you have will carry on to the next level. Now, as a result of this, Square Enix has done away with Guardian's aspect for guild leaves. They made it so that guild leaves now reward XP comparable to what it was pre-patch with GA. What this means is that it'll be like you have GA on all the time. Trust no one that tells you that leveling is slow solo. It's actually really fast, but not fast to the point where it feels like it's broken. Solo leveling through guild leaves is now probably at the fastest it's ever been, and I think it's at a happy medium where it's fast, it's slower than partying, but it's not too fast, if that makes any sense. Synthesis has received some major changes. First off, HQing items is now a matter of obtaining all high quality items for the item that you're making. This doesn't guarantee an HQ outright, but it greatly increases your chances of getting a high quality item. Your chances to HQ are displayed in the bottom right hand side of the synth window, and this is determined by the current quality of the synth. Now, note that the quality rating also gives you an XP bonus after the synth is successfully completed. The process of touching up an equipment has been replaced with double down, which is essentially a double or nothing scenario. Either you HQ the item or you fail. Another change that was made to synthesis is when you do the same synth over and over, like when you're skilling up, if you've done it too many times, your synthesis will be interrupted, meaning that you will get kicked out of the synthesis window. This is an attempt to stop people from botting, or myself who use a turbo controller. I'm sorry some of you guys call it cheating, but I have better things to do than sit there and spam X on standard synth. Some notable changes to synthesis includes the increase from 10 to 30 seconds for time allowed to import synthesis commands. Standard synthesis increases progress and consumes more durability. Rapid synthesis does not increase quality. Careful synthesis dramatically increases quality, and a set amount of durability is consumed regardless of whether or not the standard synth or careful synthesis succeeds. Consumable items have been completely reworked along with the recipes that make them. They now give bonuses as a percentage with a cap as opposed to a fixed value, though there are still some items that give fixed value bonuses. The idea behind food seems to be a short buff, or a small buff rather, with a short cooldown, while medicine gives a big buff with a long cooldown to prevent overusing. Now let's say you're consuming a food that gives attack power plus 7 and has a maximum value of 51. If your attack power was 600, a 7% boost would be 42, therefore your attack power would be raised to 642. But if your attack power was 640, a boost would equal 54 since that's 7%. But the max is 51, so you'll only get 51 added to your attack power, leaving it at 791 total. All food items that you consume give a 3% XP bonus, even if it's an ingredient. So if you're out there battling and you don't have food, but it drops like a pineapple, just eat it for the 3% bonus. 2 brand new instances have been added to the game, the Aurum Vale and Cutter's Cry. From my limited experience inside these dungeons, they seem to offer a pretty high difficulty level, and they introduce new environmental hazards. I'm talking about the Aurum Vale here specifically. These dungeons offer a small distraction or extra content for endgame players to test out their new jobs or get acquainted with their new roles in the party environment. Now, this is what many players, myself included, have been waiting to see implemented into the game, the job system. The job system allows players to specialize their class and add vertical leveling to the armory system, which up until now has been a mostly horizontal system. These jobs give player bonuses to abilities, stats, and provide them with a specific role in a party environment. You start off by reaching level 30 on the main class and 15 on a predetermined subclass. Once these requirements are met, you can take on the first job quest. These quests reward players with experience points for their class and a new ability to use when they have the job equipped. There are currently 5 quests per job, which leads to 5 new abilities, the last one being a pseudo FF11 2-hour ability on a 15-minute cooldown. The last 2 quests allow players to obtain artifact armor, which is what we all think about when we think jobs. When we think Dragoon, we think of shiny purple armor, we think of Kane, Paladin white armor, etc. Some class abilities needed to be changed. Take note that when you're on a job, you can only equip abilities from 2 subclasses. In my case, I was on Paladin. I can only equip Marauder and Conjurer abilities. Some changes to abilities include, but are not limited to, the removal of TP on Second Wind, which a lot of people have grown to like. I like it. No recast on Sleep, Swift Song, Repose. Temper Will is now 20 seconds, and it negates binding and leash effects, if I'm not mistaken, which is incredibly useful for getting away from toads. Some of the new job-specific abilities are actually pretty interesting. I mean, we all knew Dragoon was going to get jumped. That was a given. But they also gave him something called elusive jump, which I've never seen in FF11. And this is a jump that makes the character jump back to avoid damage, kind of like disengage in World of Warcraft for hunters. Another ability which I thought was really nice was Holy Succor for Paladin. It cures an ally for about as much as a cura, but you can cure yourself, but if you cure somebody else, you'll cure them for that amount, and half of that amount gets given to you, which is pretty handy for tanking. But back to talking about the 15-minute cooldown abilities for the new jobs. Some of them are good, some of them, not that great. Leaves a lot to be desired. I think the only two that are really useful are Hallowed Ground for Paladin, which is invincible for 10 seconds, and Battle Song for Bard, which is a really nice HP buff and buffs for future songs that are cast. The other ones just they don't seem like they do enough damage, or the buff isn't good enough for the long cooldown. Also, while I'm talking about the cooldown, I would just like to note that when you change classes, the cooldown on these abilities are reset every time. This is incredibly annoying. This is something they need to fix. Before the implementation of this job system, players would try to create roles out of the classes that they were given. There wasn't any clear-cut explanation for what they were doing. They just kind of did what felt right to them. They saw that gladiators could use shields, so they just assumed that was a tank, which is absolutely correct, but this isn't the way that you should try to design a game. Many will say that they don't need that level of hand-holding, you don't need to be told that you're a tank or whatever, but for a lot of people that play MMOs, and this is the majority, this sort of thing is critical for keeping them engaged and letting them know what to do and how to do it, and how to grow as a character, how to grow their character and evolve within the game. I feel that this is the first patch developed by SE that addresses this fundamental issue. Along with giving players a straightforward objective, they've also added enough content to the game for new players to be completely occupied and engaged with their time in the world. A lot of people are going to say that there's still not enough content. I'm not sure if there's enough content for endgame players or current players that are at endgame, but for a brand new character, there's a ton of stuff that a lot of people are just like unaware of, or they don't pay attention to because it doesn't benefit them, and that's understandable. But to say that it's lacking content at this point, not a very good argument. If you really want an argument, talk about the lag that is still apparent in the game. Talk about the fact that you still can't change your graphic settings without leaving the game. Talk about how you still can't get rid of your old LS mates who have quit the game because they're not online and not right next to you. These are all valid complaints which still have not been addressed, but are in the framework for 2.0. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this patch 1.21 overview. If you have any questions, comments, and/or burning desires, please leave them in the comment section below. Once again, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next installment. Oh, one last thing. This is the first time that I've done one of these videos with voiceovers. If you guys have any suggestions for facilitating this tedious process, let me know. I'm all ears. Thank you. And thanks for watching.